Welcome to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm David Bowles. Somewhere ahead of you, on a day no calendar has marked yet, someone you love is going to say a final sentence, and you may be the one who hears it. You will lean in. You will carry what they said for the rest of your life, and you will believe it because nearly everything in you insists that a person at the end of everything has no reason left to lie. The law believes it too. There is a maxim behind that faith, old enough to arrive in Latin: nemo, moriturus, praesumitur, mentiri. No one about to die is presumed to lie. Out of that presumption, the courts built one of the strangest doors in the law of evidence, the dying declaration. Hearsay, the secondhand report of what somebody said outside the courtroom, is generally barred at trial. The words of the dying walk through. In 1789, in a poisoning case called Rex versus Woodcock, Chief Baron Eyre told the jury why. At the point of death, he said, "Every motive to falsehood is silenced, and the mind is induced by the most powerful considerations to speak the truth." A dying person, on this theory, stands under an obligation equal to the oath itself. My new book is called No One Dies Lying: Last Words on Trial, and it puts that beautiful idea in the dock. The book opens in May of 1929 in officers' quarters at Fort Riley, Kansas, where a woman named Zenana Shepard asked her nurse to fetch the bottle of whiskey she had drunk from just before she collapsed. She said the smell was strange. She said the taste was strange. Then she said the sentence the next 6 years of American law would orbit: "Dr. Shepard has poisoned me." She died that June. Her husband, an Army doctor, stood trial for murder, and her sentence went on without her. A conviction in Kansas City, a reversal at the Supreme Court, written by Justice Cardozo, an acquittal at Topeka in 1935. Cardozo's opinion gave the doctrine its modern gatekeeping phrase: "The declarant must speak under a settled, hopeless expectation of death. Hope is the contaminant. Despair is the credential." Sit with that for a moment, because it means our law treats despair as the thing that makes a sentence trustworthy. 14 chapters follow the idea everywhere it goes, a history of the wager and a cross-examination of it. The cross-examination starts in the body. A dying brain is often a failing organ among failing organs. Delirium, the confused uremic mind, consciousness flickering under sepsis and morphine. The doctrine imagines a declarant clear-eyed at the threshold. Clinical literature describes patients who cannot reliably name the year. And because the evidence honestly cuts both ways, the book sits with the stranger findings too. The documented clearings called paradoxical lucidity, minds surfacing near the end after years away. I printed what the record shows in both directions, and let the reader hold the contradiction the courts have never resolved. The state has its own history with last words. On the Tudor scaffold, dying speeches came scripted, and the condemned mostly delivered them. Anne Boleyn praised the king who was killing her. On the modern gurney in Huntsville, Texas, a microphone waits while the warden asks whether there is a last statement. Those chapters keep a rule I set before a word was drafted. Reported cases only. Nothing invented. The dead kept their own words or none at all. Then the book walks into the theater. Shakespeare knew the doctrine before the lawyers finished building it. John of Gaunt says it from his deathbed in Richard II, that the tongues of dying men enforce a tension like deep harmony. And then Shakespeare staged the counterexample, and it has held the boards for 400 years. Desdemona strangled by Othello. revives for a breath. Emilia asks who has done this deed. She answers, nobody. I myself. Farewell. Commend me to my kind lord. A dying declaration, false on its face, spoken to shield her killer, out of love. The one thing the law swears cannot happen is the most famous deathbed sentence in English drama, and Chapter 10 holds the two declarations in that one bed and lets them argue. The maxim also gets run through a forgery. In 1915, a Baptist paper called the Watchman Examiner printed Lady Hope's story that Charles Darwin had renounced evolution on his deathbed. The family denied it 4 separate times. And in a private letter in 1922, Darwin's daughter Henrietta conceded something exquisite. The man who carried the story to America had probably reported Lady Hope faithfully. Every link in the chain held. The load was wrong anyway. Keep that pair of sentences. The whole problem of hearsay survives inside them. The doctrine is alive right now. It listens to 911 calls. It has been asked to rule on body cameras and police interviews in parking lots. And here is the fact that startled me most while writing. No American reported decision has yet received a dying text message as a dying declaration. The most common way a person in trouble now reaches for help has never once carried the doctrine's weight in a published American case. The law is still waiting for the present to arrive. Here is how close the question has come. In 2004, the Supreme Court tore its confrontation doctrine down to the studs and rebuilt it on founding-era history, and this exception failed the new test on its face. The court kept it anyway, in a footnote, for its age. 7 years later, a justice wrote that she stood ready to examine whether it survives at all. The case has never arrived. So does the exception deserve to survive? The Supreme Court has kept it. And the honest summary of its reasoning is age. Pedigree. The book delivers a verdict in the last chapter, and I will let the book keep it. But I will tell you where the final page lands because it lands on you. Nearly 6 Americans die every minute. Across the 8 minutes of this episode, that is about 47 people. And almost every one of those deaths has somebody attached to it, hoping to have been in the room. The book ends with a wish underneath the whole doctrine, and the wish belongs to the living. That someone will be there, that they will lean in, and that whatever we manage to say at the end will be received as the truth. No One Dies Lying. Last Words on Trial is available now, in Kindle and paperback at Amazon, and as a free PDF edition, complete with its index, at bowlesbooks.com. Read it. Then call somebody you love while everyone can still cross-examine everyone. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm David Bowles, wishing you a safe evening and a more sacred tomorrow. Be a human meme.